just incredible. Two. DJ Sour Milk.
One. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Let's get it. It's the LA Leakers.
Yeah.
You know it on Power 106. Just incredible.
Sour Milk.
Vic Mensa, it's always great having you with
What's
us.
happening, broski? Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. So let's get to it. We were just talking about a classic Eminem album, man. What's some of your favorite?
Infinite.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Like, what does Eminem as an MC mean to Vic Mensa?
Man, I mean, there's been a lot of different points in my life when I've been very inspired by Eminem. You know what I'm saying? I think that Eminem is probably he's probably the best technical rapper of all time as far as rhyming words.
Yeah.
I put Hove as the best rapper as a whole entity.
Word.
You know what I mean? But Eminem is definitely, it's not too many that can ever run with him. And it's those guys that really paved the way for us to be able to, be in this new era, like creating at a high level and trying to stick to the standard.
Yeah, you're definitely creating at a high level. What, 2 albums last year?
That's always how I try to, I studied these artists, I studied the game, so I try to make sure that everything I put out can stand the test of time.
And it always does. And you mentioned Hove being, right at the top of your Mount Rushmore. Not to put words into your mouth, but then you're touring with him, man. And I had a chance to see it. I talked to you a little bit off the air about it. But what was that experience like on that 444 tour?
I was electric, just kind of stepping out on that stage. I had this crazy all red leather, this all red and black leather outfit that my boy Kirby Jean from Pierre Moss did. So that's a young designer from Brooklyn that just got nominated for like best new designer at the CFDA Awards.
Amazing.
And the big crazy fucking rock boots and shit. And I hit the ground. It felt like it just started shaking. It felt like I was breaking the ground when I stepped. And but I wanted to take that platform and that moment and create an experience.
Yeah.
I focus on performances. It's like I watch some artists these days, and I was at Gov Ball the other day in New York City, and I definitely won't diss anybody, but it's like I'm watching artists and they not even rapping the shit or stuff. Sorry, they're not even like saying their words, and then lead the stage. People just don't care as much.
They're
all
barely
the time.
trying out there.
It's
just
like that matters to me. The performance matters to me. Every single aspect of this. I try to involve myself to the highest level possible and try to make everything special.
Yeah, no doubt.
And you're someone who obviously takes not only the music serious but the live show serious. Being on tour with Hove, are you still sitting there learning and watching, taking notes and seeing what he does out there, or as accomplished as you are already, are you? Did you already kind of find your, what I'm saying, like what you're comfortable with?
I was definitely studying, man. That's like I said, I'm a student of the game first. So it's like any show I watch of an artist that I really respect what they do, it's like I be taking notes, you know what I mean? Just like literally and figuratively, just little things like how you say this to the crowd,
Yeah.
And you will see when you start to watch that. A lot of great people do that, and pick up little tidbits from others, and it's like, that's kind of like how you take what somebody does and spin it, sample it, make it your own, improve upon it for yourself.
Right. You were fearless out there too, man. I enjoyed watching you. All your performances. It's you, the mic, and the crowd. And your connection with that crowd is insane. And what's the final song where it's just...
That was We Could Be Free, yeah.
Love that record, man. Love that record.
Thank you,
and
man.
seeing you out there perform that, and I feel like it's a little bit risky because it's a different, approach.
For sure.
Does that make you nervous, or are you just like, I can't wait to get this energy out there?
Man, I was always looking forward to getting that moment because in the shows really like the album that I was performing, the autobiography, the show, I tried to make that, have its valleys and peaks and kind of be a narrative, a story in a way. So that's always a moment, specifically on that tour, where I would have the whole stadium, put
Lit
the
up.
lights in the sky.
Lit up, yeah.
And then it's like, it feels like I'm in outer space. And it's just like gargantuan.
That's what's up, man. Let's get to the new music now.
Yeah.
The song Reverse, bro. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, so the record is produced by my boy Marshmello featuring my brother G-Eazy. And, just something feel good for the summer, something to move around to, drive fast to, you know what I'm saying? It was like actually the day that we did the last show on the tour at the Forum.
Okay.
It was like I was leaving that show and I was racing my boy Big O. That's my jeweler.
Okay.
And, he drive crazy. He was just in his like family Audi. I was in the Aston Martin DB11, and he beat me anyway. Because he was taking chances. He was taking chances
ready
that
to
I
risk
wasn't
it all.
willing to take.
Not
You
in the
know,
Aston.
and he had his son in the car with him. He's taking reckless chances, like cutting in front of Suburbans, and I'm like, yo, I'm not gonna follow you, but just then the next day I jumped in the studio and I was like, okay, that's what I'm feeling like. I'm feeling like the Aston Martin DB11, like speeding from downtown LA to Hollywood.
And so how does this record happen exactly? So does Marshmello give you the beat and then you say to yourself like, G would sound dope on this, or?
Yeah, we just jumped in the studio. Marshmello and I jumped in the studio. I did the record, and my manager Cody, he was like just kind of throwing ideas around, and I've known G for a long time, and we've been overdue to do some music. We've been talking about it for a while, so I was like, man, let's just send this over his way.
Dope.
Fly, man. And is this off of a new project, or what's in the works for 2018?
Reverse is pretty much like a standalone single, but we just got more music coming out for the rest of the summer.
Yeah.
And just trying to stay fresh with it, and definitely a few projects before the year's end.
Few projects.
Yeah.
Few
Yeah.
projects.
Yeah, few.
He's always working.
Because niggas doing these short projects now. It's like you could get them off.
Is that something you would consider? That's been like kind of
I've been on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like a 6-7 song project 2016.
Right.
I like those. Something that you can. It's more concise, and you can kind of get a couple ideas off. But I do like full length albums as well.
Speaking for you, what's the what I'm saying, the reasoning behind doing a 6-7 song? Is it just because people's attention spans are shorter now, or what is it exactly?
Like, in the current iteration of this game, it's like singles and streaming.
Yeah.
It's not the same as going and I remember going and buying Blueprint.
Yeah.
And or going and buying Slim Shady LP. It's like that was kind of like a different experience. It's now when you buy an album physically or something, it's like you are really doing it kind of like as a show of support, more so than this is how we really consume music.
Right.
Yeah.
You
click around with music these days, so I think it's just kind of like adapting to the times. Personally, I do still like some having something in my hand. Like I like vinyls and I like CD booklets.
Yeah.
I'm into all that. But it's just not being limited, no limitations. I think that's the allure of it, is being able to release music in any way that you want to.
Yeah, that's true too, because I still buy physical copies, but I don't remember the last time I actually opened a physical copy of an album that I purchased.
Right.
It's usually I'll purchase the album just to support and then go stream it. What's the last album you purchased? Is there one that you remember? Physical copy.
I feel like it's always when I'm like on the road. I'm on the road and I run into a Best Buy or something. Something we could play in the Sprinter. I remember it was like some years ago. I think I ran into Target and I bought like YG's the Brazy, maybe Still Brazy was what it was called. I bought that. I bought like this Prince Greatest Hits album. I bought this Al Green Greatest Hits album. Like the Gorillaz first album. Whenever I buy CDs, I'll just go buy a bunch of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and just run through them.
If you could design a playlist, and you probably do in your phone, like
I
all
got
of
some ill playlists.
Yeah, like who are some of the, recommend us some.
Let's see what song was.
Yeah, he's gonna scroll through it.
I feel like they're pretty. The variety's probably ill.
I got some good playlists, man. They low key right now, but okay. There's Blink 182, I Miss You.
Okay.
Wyclef, Gone to November.
Okay.
there's a song everybody should know that probably nobody does. It's off of Lauryn Hill's Unplugged album. This song is so crazy. It's called Just Like Water. Man, let me see. Portishead, Gil Scott-Heron, David Bowie, Marvin Gaye, Block Party, Pac, I Ain't Mad at You. That's my favorite song. That's where I'll leave it at. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Some classics in there, some great music.
Some joints.
The variety's ill, man. I see, I think yesterday, we're talking albums. I think yesterday was like 22-year anniversary of Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, word. I didn't know that.
I can't believe how fast time flies, because like 2 years ago, they did the pop-up here in L.A. For the 20-year, and now it's at 22. Was that an important album to you? For
sure. Yeah. There's just a lot of bars in there. It was like the storytelling, and storytelling is big for me, so there's certain records like The Evils or Friend or Foe. Is that the next album?
Friend or
Foe's on
Friend
that.
or Foe's on there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like just the way he was painting those pictures, and he was telling those stories with these dense verses, crazy metaphors like keep one eye open like CBS. It's just like all these. That was a major album for me for sure.
Do you have a favorite Hove album?
Yeah, Blueprint 1.
Same here, man. That
album's
Blueprint
incredible.
1.
That's it, man.
Incredible, man.
best.
So when I walked in, not that I was creeping, but I saw you had the CNN app open on your phone. You're very
He did, didn't he?
into,
I didn't notice that, but I knew it wasn't also.
You're super aware of what's going on,
That's
man.
right.
So let's just pretend Donald Trump walked in this door. What's the
I would
first thing
smack
you're
the shit
saying?
out his ass. Please excuse me, but I wouldn't have no words for him. It would be on sight if I see Donald Trump. It's on sight.
That's awesome.
That's it. Straight to it.
That's it. It's
Straight
on
to it.
sight.
No words.
On sight. That's all.
If you ever run into Donald Trump anywhere,
They had to take me down.
I mean, is there? But let's be real here. Is there any positives that we could take out of this? Not saying. Hey, I'm just saying. I feel like
For sure.
It does raise awareness.
Yeah,
It does
I think
get people
that,
talking.
Well, I would rather deal with a wolf showing its fangs than one dressed in sheep's clothing.
That's true.
Racism and racists have, been lured out of the closet. What happens now is to be determined. But I do appreciate people saying the way they feel. Like what I was just looking at was this woman who was harassing a man who was like blowing some leaves.
I saw
with
that
his
earlier
mother,
today,
and
man.
she was like, she came out here, and he was like, why do you hate us? She was like,
I saw that
because you're
too.
Mexican. You're a rapist. You're an animal. And although like that's damaging, that's hurtful, I think that it's important for us to remember that is America. That's what America was built on, and that it still exists, and that we can't be fooled into thinking that we're in some post-racial like fantasy world that Obama's administration had people thinking it was. So it's good to know that.
Yeah, there's a version of that video too, and then there's like a subtitle that says like, "I wonder where she learned that from," and then they pan to a clip of Trump, and he's basically saying the same.
That's what
thing.
she said. She was
Right?
like, even the president says
"Oh
it.
my God, yeah."
Bro, that's so wild to
They
me.
gonna find. I mean, her face was all in the video though. That's the other positive to this thing is that her face was all in the video, and each time they be identifying these people and then just making their lives horrible. Like,
Oh my God.
like the man in New York City
Yeah.
who
Yeah,
did
yeah.
that whole situation,
Yeah.
and they just started
paparazzi
following
was
him
following him
around.
around. Yeah.
He's trying to hide under umbrellas. They had a Mexican street fair
Yeah.
on the street where he lives. They had a Mexican food street fair. Like, that's good. That's funny. And also
Permit Patty. was
good
getting it
memes
crazy,
too. That's what I'm saying.
The
Permit
memes,
Patty,
yeah.
good memes. Like real solid memes. Like
Real solid memes. One of the other issues is, the latest one is the families being separated at the border.
yeah.
Did you have, thoughts on that and any way that you feel that what we need to do to work on that?
Yeah, my thoughts on that are that the untold or maybe the unhighlighted part of that story is that there are already hundreds of documented cases in the past couple years of Border Patrol, ICE agents, immigration agents sexually abusing kids on the books.
Wow.
So if you just do the math and you know that, over 2,000 kids have been detained, and that's just the number we have now in the past couple weeks, and you think of how many have been detained, how many thousands in the past few years, how many hundreds were sexually abused, you just do the mathematics, and you know that there's been these kids are getting raped also.
Yeah.
And that's like under the table right now. And so it's like even worse than I think that a lot of people are realizing.
Yeah, not only that, but something that I heard today that I wasn't aware of, is a lot of these kids too, that they don't even know like who their parents are. They didn't document, basically what kid belongs to what parents. So it's like they got to do DNA testing now. And
there was a movie I saw on something like that too.
It's crazy, man.
Oh,
terrible.
man, you know what's actually crazy, too? So I was with my boy yesterday. He's from El Salvador. Actually, he was born in America, then taken to El Salvador, his first couple months of life, and was raised there and then brought back to America. But he was always an American citizen because he was born here. And so a lot of these immigrants, are coming from El Salvador, from Honduras, from Guatemala. And Donald Trump and the Republicans, they keep talking about MS-13, the same way that they were using Chicago. They were look at Chicago, every time something happened. That seems to be their vibe right now this week. It's like MS-13. It's like Nancy Pelosi, she's MS-13 too. They act like she tatted up, like she blasted on the face or something. But so the wild thing, MS-13 is from El Salvador.
Yeah.
And my boy was breaking this down to me the way that the U.S. created the Civil War in El Salvador in the 80s and 90s by going in because they wanted the resources. So they went in, they armed the rebels, and they armed the government and created a civil war situation. And this was extremely violent, extremely bloody. If they thought that you were with the rebels, they'd come, or the rebels would chop your body up. And so then people start fleeing, obviously, and they're trying to flee to America, which makes sense to me because America created the situation in the first place.
Yeah.
Then MS-13, the MS comes over here, becomes MS-13 because they're getting into it with the Mexicans and all this. And they're like, wait, why are we letting these guys punk us? Like, we just been in a civil war. So that's how it becomes so violent. And it's just a wild, vicious circle to me to find out that the U.S. actually created the Civil War in El Salvador and now uses the products of their creation as the scapegoat for keeping these people out of America. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's a dirty game for real.
Yeah, it's wild out there.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Talk to us, let's get to back to the music. So you said, a few projects on the way this year.
Yes, sir.
What's your creative space like right now? Like, where are you at? What do you want people to gather from your music where we currently are at right now in hip hop?
I was actually just working on some music right before I came here. I've been producing a lot, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of like trying to be real honest about the things I feel. That's always what I do in music, And so I've been in a lot of different spaces of personal growth, also in some real dark places. So the music I've been making very recently been really dark. Okay. But it's like just how I feel. So I feel like I gotta put it in the music.
Yeah. And being from Chi, like who are some of your influencers or like top MCs that come out of the city that you looked up to?
Common, my favorite rapper of all time.
Man.
Yo, it's
That's
crazy.
I tell people that all the time, dude. Like Common it has always been so consistent, like never fell off ever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Common just my favorite rapper, man. It's like I would listen to him, rapping about the bus route I took. And, it was crazy. I was in the south of France like a few days ago, maybe 3 days ago, 4 days ago, for the Cannes Film Festival. And I'm walking down the street, and my boy, like, my DJ Eway, he like, yo, is that Mos Def? I'm like, I don't know. We'll turn around, we see, somebody just kind of like dripping a whole bunch of Rick Owens. I'm like, this is probably Mos Def, So I run up on him. He kind of look at me crazy for a second. I'm like, yo, my name's Vic Mensa, man. He's like, oh shit, I mess with you. And then I look, and here's Common right behind him. So we just end up kicking it with Common and Mos Def in the south of France for like the whole night, just running around.
I did see that picture on your Instagram.
Yeah, just trying to find some pizza. We couldn't find we couldn't find anything to eat, but it was it was ill. It was ill, just like kind of just shooting it with them, because it's like I was telling Mos that I really respected the chances he's taking in music, or Yassine, you know what I mean? But I was telling him that I really respect the chances he's taking in music, and how he made albums that I didn't even understand for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? He made albums that was just so far ahead, and just took those risks because that's the way he felt. Like, I remember being a shorty and being like biggest fan of Black on Both Sides, and then picking up the New Danger and being like, man, what is this, bro? Like, I don't even know what's going on here. You know what I mean? These guitars and I liked rock music too, but I didn't like putting it together. I wasn't ready, you know. And I just really dove into that album this year. So it's like I admire people in music that have like not been afraid to take a chance and do something completely different from what the rest of the game is doing, or what people expect from them, or what people want from them, just because that's how they feel.
Someone else who I feel did that was Xxxtentacion. Is that someone that you knew, you had a personal relationship with?
No, I didn't know him.
Man, and I mean, I'm sure you know a lot. Growing up in Chicago, man, we all know the stories of how bad Chicago got. I'm sure it's probably still like that in certain areas.
Yeah, it's heavy.
What do we got to do as I guess a generation and a culture, man, to fix this type of stuff, to stop this type of stuff from happening?
Man, you know, I mean, I can't really say too much on that situation. I would just say, you know, rest in peace. No young man deserves to meet an end like that. But you know, on the other side, I also have to say that I'm anti-domestic abuse, and I have to, you know, just send a shout out and love to all the survivors of domestic abuse, and you know, and just push young artists to realize that there's other ways, you know, than a lot of what different people are doing right now, and just like kind of trying to portray and putting a lot of violent and negative energy out. You know what I'm saying? There are other ways to get attention. There's other ways to get on, because those things come back to you. And it's like the universe works in one way, man. The energy that you put in, it comes back, and you know, you never know how it's gonna come back. That's the crazy thing about it. Yeah.
There is artists that are actually trying to maximize that type of energy,
and then it's gonna come back. That's the thing, you know. We don't play with that. You know, it's like you gotta watch how you move out here.
It's a good message. That's a good message. What are your thoughts on internet trolls, man? Do you ever just want to put your phone down, like, or do you? You seem like you probably just turn the shit off.
Yeah, I actually, you know, my boy Malcolm London, he be making fun of me because like my way of tapping out is like going on CNN or whatever, watching that. But I don't even pay attention. I don't be on Twitter. I don't even have it on my phone. You know, I don't scroll. I don't follow anybody on Instagram. I just kind of stay away from it, because it's like I see a lot of stuff that I just don't respect. The funny things and like the standout moments, somebody will come show them to me.
Right.
But you know, I can't really be tuned into what, you know, each and every fake gangbanger is doing today and tomorrow, because it's like I don't care, you know.
Yeah. Another reason why I think that's important is real shit, is because we have a lot of young audience listening to our show.
Okay, it's not live. I could curse now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
no,
cool.
we going.
Fuck!
We going there.
yeah, I noticed you kept cleaning it up. Like, no, it's cool.
But yeah, I feel like they should hear that, especially from someone like yourself, because everyone's attached to their phone all day long, and I'm sure in someone who's in the limelight like yourself, it gets wild. But even for someone who's, you know, 16, 17 years old and they got 3 friends sharing a picture that they didn't want to see, I think that's a huge issue too, that tells people like, yo, everything you see online isn't always true, and stay away from that type of energy.
You can't get around it though. You know, it's like, it's where we at. And it's just respecting the situation and realizing that there's amazing things you could do with this connection, but that it can also water things down and it can create illusions, and that, you know, all these people that you see, you know, a lot of these people that you see pretending to be certain things on the internet may not really be that. And like, I just try to stay authentic so that the people watching me at least realize that there's a difference, you know?
Yeah. Definitely is, man. Vic Mensa's here.
Yeah.
As you know, the new song Reverse with G-Eazy is available right now everywhere. New music on the way. A couple projects is on the way before the year is up, so we got that to look forward to. Vic, it's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me, man. Every time I'm in LA, man, I got to come home, rock with the Leakers, man.
That's right. LA Leakers, just incredible.
Sour milk.
Vic Mensa on Power 106. Yeah.